Okay, now finally on It's a Perfect World, George Zimmerman, the closing arguments. And I just want to say, I'm not going to take all day, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of shit because I know that the prosecution did a good job today. I'm not going to lie, they did a good job. They presented it out. The difference with Mr. Delindo, whatever his name, Bernie Delindo, whatever, the bald head guy. The difference with his thing is he's talking like, damn, y'all can't see this shit. He like, it's obvious, he's talking like that, like it's obvious, like how I be talking, like damn, this shit is just obvious. But maybe that didn't go well with certain people or whatever. But maybe they should have had Manti do it. I like him a little bit better. I think his thing is a little bit more funnier because he's more calm. When he talks, he's like, this happened. I mean, damn, you believe that? It's like in a calm manner. He's like his. You just got to know what type of humor he is. Has or whatever. But I think he, they should let him do the rebuttal. That's me personally, but I don't think they're gonna do that. But as far as I'm concerned, the prosecution did an excellent job. So everything what they said, you know what I'm saying? And the only thing that's different because, I can say what I want to say. I'm like, they have their little laws and rules in the courtroom and all that old shit. So there's certain things that they can't put in. But me, you know what I'm saying? What I'm putting in, like I've always been saying, this motherfucker need to be tried for first degree murder. But second degree is cool. They get him with the manslaughter, whatever. He got off. But it should have been murder. And everybody knows it. I mean, damn, like I said before, I feel like Hannibal Lecter, talking to Clarice, like, man, haven't you read the case files? I've read it. It's all in there. You know what I'm saying? It's obvious. The man has been lying up and down the board trying to, and what would you do if you did that shit? You know what I'm saying? You be lying too. You be trying to stay out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Because, you woke up the next day like, damn, man, this shit is serious. It's more serious than I thought. You know what I mean? So he ain't never been through that shit before. He was visualizing that shit, but he ain't never been through it before. So that's the whole key, And let me just start with the neighbor. Because, see, they don't want to bring that up. The neighbor. Like I said on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, they had the neighbor come up. The lady that was in her house, in her home, and the dudes broke in the home and took stuff and all that while she was there. You know what I'm saying? George came over there and comforted her after that. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Somebody come into your home and steal some shit. That was a home invasion. That wasn't even a burglary. That would piss a person off. That would make you hella mad. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, when I got that man's laptop back in the, I didn't never mention it. And I could have the man come and talk on the thing too. He was a white dude. He lived in my neighborhood on my old street, and he's a white dude. I didn't even say that. You know what I'm saying? Because me and him got cool after that, after I did that for him. You know what I'm saying? So, I know how that was because he's in, this dude is in this neighborhood and, these other little dudes that's hanging out across the street and, all he's trying to do is raise his family. He was working, working hard or whatever. And, it's him and his wife and his little baby, you know what I mean? And they broke in his house when they wasn't home, and that was fucked up. That's how I felt about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how George felt about it. He felt like that was fucked up that these motherfuckers gonna break in her house while she's in there with her baby. You know what I'm saying? That was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that right there sparked the anger. He had the anger. You know what I'm saying? He was gonna have some justice. And then they kept getting away for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. This motherfucker ain't getting away. That's how his thought process was. So, as he's Doing all this, so now let's get back to his call. Let's just talk about his call to the 911 operator. When he's doing this, he's calling on Trayvon, and he's actually assessing the situation. He's looking at the situation. He's seeing where he's at. He's seeing what the person is talking about. He's knowing that the response time is kind of weak. You know what I'm saying? He's watching Trayvon's movement. He's alleging that he has something in his hands. He's alleging that he's high. There's something wrong with him. He's a criminal, blah, blah, blah. The whole time he's talking to the people, Trayvon's talking to Gentel, expressing the same concern about him. We know this. You know what I'm saying? We know this. I mean, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? He's telling her that this motherfucker is following me. You know what I'm saying? And he proceeds to walk down. You know what I'm saying? And when George Zimmerman parked, he's like, oh, yeah, something's wrong with him. He's in his late teens. He's wearing this. He's wearing that. He saw him. Trayvon did not go and come back. Trayvon was still heading this way, coming from the mailbox past him. He was able to see the button on his shirt. He was able to see, everything, all the little details about him, that he knew that he was in his late teens. At that point in time, whatever it was about George Zimmerman caused Trayvon to run. The part that the prosecution didn't leave, that they left out to me today, what I would have put in is when George Zimmerman says to the operator, he's running towards the south. He said that. He knew where he was going. And also, like the prosecution says, there's 3 streets in your neighborhood and you don't know what street you're on. Come on, man. You was not confused. You was able to look this boy in his eyes. You was able to look and tell exact details about him. You was not confused about where you was at. You just didn't want to tell nobody where you was at. You know what I'm saying? And then you said he ran south. That's going towards your house. It's south. There's 3 streets in the neighborhood and you live on one of them. He knew where he was. He has to know. You know what I'm saying? There's no possible way. So for him to lie like that, that's a lie. When he got out of his car, he did not walk. He ran. You can hear the wind. When he first got out, the wind was going as he's talking. And then he's like, yep. He may not have been in a full sprint, but he was trying to keep up to keep Trayvon, try to keep a visual on Trayvon. Like I said before, my personal belief is they both went down south and then they cut across. The reason why he couldn't tell him the address is because he was in that cut through. There weren't any addresses right there at that particular time when he was on the phone, because he was on that path that where the attack ended at. He was on that path, but he was down towards the south, and he was following Trayvon through that other little cut through to the back street. I don't know what all his movements was. He could have been looking up this path, looking down the path, went to the other street, looked up that street, looked down that street. He's looking for Trayvon. For whatever reason that Trayvon chose to try to go whichever route that he went to in attempts to lose him, was only Trayvon knows. He was sitting there talking to the girl at the whole time. He was running, then he started walking. He told her he thought he lost him. You know what I'm saying? As he was traveling around, in a square, in a big square, or up in a zigzag. I don't know the exact pattern, but I know that it wasn't just down the dog path and then make a right, and then that's where the confrontation was. It didn't happen like that. It was too much. It was too long of a period of time was wasted. George Zimmerman was in pursuit of him going southbound, and they ended up at the top of the T. Now, when they were up on the top of the T, according to the video, he's lying. According to the video, because he's sitting there, and as he's out there actually in the element for the first time, it wasn't no Jordan, no dress rehearsal at that time. It was raw and uncut. They got the tape rolling. Boom, this is your life, George Zimmerman. It's the perfect world. Come on with the story. So they walking through. They didn't do a walk, like, okay, we're going to go here first and then come back and then, all right, ready, set, go, and start the camera rolling. It was all live. They pulled up. They showed him. He had rehearsed it in his mind what he wanted to do, but he hadn't been there actually until that time. So now they get there, and he's walking through, and he's telling the officers all this stuff about, he went through to get the address. He never said an address. So that was bullshit. Then he comes back down the T talking about he's walking to his truck. And Trayvon walks up to him and says the shit that he says to him. Then he says before on another interview that Trayvon punched him in his nose. He fell backwards. Did you hear? The man said that. I fell backwards into the grass. That would mean he fell across the T into the grass. Now, at first, I was thinking, how do you discredit that? What if Trayvon was across the path and came out of the bushes across from the other side? As George Zimmerman is walking back to his truck, Trayvon came from his right side, punched him in his nose. He fell into the grass, the initial grass that they ended up on. No, he wasn't on that side. He was on the left side. He told him he came up from the bottom of the path. Okay. So if he punched him and he fell backwards into the grass, he would have been on the other side. But so we knew that he lied in one of them other videos. You know what I'm saying? But in the walkthrough video, he's saying that he got punched. Now he's like, I must have stumbled, and then we wrestled all the way down, But you were trying to say you got punched and you fell on the ground. Then he got on top of you, and then he started banging your head on the concrete. How did you guys get 40 yards down the pathway? It's like, it can't be. So he's trying to make it be that, and the police were letting him just say it, like, just say something. I don't know what their problem was, but obviously they knew who his daddy was at that particular time. They knew who his uncle was at that particular time. So they was kind of like lenient on him or whatever. Obviously, he had law enforcement people in his family. They knew, it only took a minute to find out who was who. You know what I'm saying? So they saw that whole incident couldn't have moved all the way down 40 feet and then ended up right there. Those are really the main two things that I would have put up in there that the prosecutor didn't put in there. And it's weird being on the prosecution side of this. You know what I'm saying? Normally I'm rooting for the defense in a case. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just being honest with you, most times I'm on the defense's side, but for whatever under these circumstances, I'm on the prosecution side, you know what I'm saying? Because dude is guilty of that shit, you know what I'm saying? And Trayvon did not deserve that, you know what I mean? And he had every intention to kill that burglar, you know what I'm saying? He was going to kill the burglar, and that's what he ended up doing. He lied again on the stand when he told the parents, I'm sorry for your loss. I thought your son was a couple years younger than me. That was bullshit. We know that he knew that he was in his late teens. He called him a kid, all that. His story is full of lies. He over-exaggerated on how many times he got hit. Trayvon there's no DNA evidence nowhere on Trayvon suggesting that he had his hands over his mouth. His wounds don't substantiate the fact that you're getting pounded. Your head is pounded on the concrete over 12, over a dozen times, punched in the face. His lip wasn't busted. His eyes weren't black. He had no rose marks on his cheeks. None of that. You know what I'm saying? But he was in this brawl that he's just laying there taking it until he realizes that Trayvon is going for his gun. You know what I'm saying? And Trayvon is using his left hand to go for the gun, or is he using his right? Is he reaching for his right, hand? Because if he's reaching with his right hand, his heart is turned away. Trayvon is reaching with his right hand to get the gun. Now you get the gun. It wouldn't have been a perfect shot into the heart because Trayvon's hand is twisted. You said you had his hand, but now, so what? Is he reaching with his left hand to get the gun? He's reaching with, why nobody never asked him that? He's reaching with his left hand to get the gun, and then he locked his left hand. If he locked his left hand, you know what I'm saying? If he locks his left hand, then his hand is out, is his shoulder is blocking his heart also. You can't get a clean shot. So that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, try to do it. It's just a lie. He lies, just lying. And, they want to sit there and talk about Rachel Gentile with her lie to the mama about why she didn't go to the funeral. That discredits her whole testimony and shit. That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? This man lied about everything. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't just lying, he was improving. He's making that shit up as he goes along, because every truth has a lie to it. But he couldn't, every good lie has truth in it. But he couldn't say that he followed him down south and then around. He couldn't tell you the whole loop because that'll show that he was tracking him. It would show that he was stalking him because he thought in his mind Trayvon was going to be an easy victim. He saw that he was a little teenage boy and he knew he could handle him. You know what I'm saying? He knew it. He knew he didn't have a gun. You know what I'm saying? He looking at this dude. He got a button on his shirt. What type of dude walks around with a button on his shirt and a pistol? You know what I'm saying? It don't make no sense. I don't think nobody never done that. Unless you crazy or something. You know what I'm saying? Or unless you just don't have a gun. You're not tripping like that. You know what I'm saying? He got a button on his shirt and a pistol. And a phone in his hand. He's talking on the phone. He knew he didn't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? If he put his hand in his waistband, he was trying to make it seem like that, you know what I'm saying, to make you leave, because he was spooked. He thought she was going to do something to him, and you ended up killing him. He knew he was about to die. He had that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Right before he was about to die, he had that feeling that you was going to kill him. So he tried to get away from you, and you tracked him down, and you killed him. You know what I'm saying? He knew what the shit was going to be. You know what I'm saying? And that was part of probably what the screaming was about too, because he knew that he saw that shit coming. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people see death coming. You know what I'm saying? They see it before it happens. You know what I mean? And he probably saw it before it happens. Who knows? No one could prove that. They could never argue that in the court, but you know what I'm saying? That's just reality. You know what I'm saying? So, this shit is bullshit, man. And you need to get charged for first-degree murder, man. You know what I mean? And that's just the bottom line, So I don't know what else to say. I'm I'm tired today. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do one more rebuttal, because the rebuttal is tomorrow, whatever. I want to see what the defense says, and then I'll do mine after that. You know what I mean? And then that's it. And for the thing. But like I said, I already know that the shit is going down and the man is getting convicted. There's no doubt in my mind the man is getting convicted. You know what I'm saying? Because the powers that be, I believe, you know what I'm saying, is tired of this bullshit. This is bullshit. Straight up. So, until then, all right, peace out, or whatever, on It's a Perfect World, George Zimmerman. Holla.